Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Thoroughbred Underdog here. And I wanted to switch things up a little bit, kind of deviate from the shorts format. Because I work so much throughout the week, I don't really have the opportunity to upload like I would like to, even if they are just little shorts. What I like to do is upload those shorts so you all could get my perspective on some of the things I have seen throughout the week in wrestling. But I get so busy and so much is going on, I don't want to bombard you all with notifications. Let's just imagine if every day something's happening and short. You know what I mean? Now, some people do like that. But I don't want to, what's the phrase? Familiarity breeds contempt. And then you don't want to get to the point of law, the law of diminishing returns where you're adding and doing too much and now people are, sick of you. And you're saturating your own audience. But what I want to do is change the format. And when it comes to the shorts, what I want to do was only upload shorts if it was breaking news, and that being breaking news like if we have a release of a major superstar or a superstar that we thought really could have been something in WWE and it caught us off guard. Maybe Hall of Fame inductions, let me see, major signings, abrupt injuries, things of that nature. Unfortunate, deaths, which we never want to report. We never want to have to upload videos for. And then what I'll do is on a night like this, on a Saturday night, basically give you all a full Thoroughbred thoughts listening, if you will, which is basically compilation of some of the things that I was able to catch throughout the week and talk about them all collectively in one little video. Saturday is one of the few days that I have off. I have off on Saturdays. I'm also off on Tuesdays. I feel like Saturday is the better one for these things because so much more has happened the past 6 days. And then by the time Tuesday comes, it's like all of that's completely old news. And now you're ready for this week's news. And I learned this format. I thought this format was good because I could talk about more and at length collectively. And not only that, but I was inspired by some of my favorite podcasters doing it this way. That being Solid Monster and the Don Tony Kevin. Well, Don Tony does them daily. I can't do them daily. I work too much. So it's mostly Solid Monster that inspired me to do this. He'll do everything throughout the week. And then on Sundays, give you his collective thoughts on his podcast. But he also does Monday Night Raw reviews, and you guys should go check them out. Jason Solomon, Solid Monster Sounds Off. He does Raw reviews, and I think he does SmackDown reviews too. Me, I just don't have the time, guys. I don't, and that's why the page started off with the most innocent of intentions. I want to upload way more often than what I have. And work has just been I think it's because I work throughout the day. Work these little 1 to 10s. And then, when I get home, I just want to, watch the wrestling that I get on here and comment to you guys about and get some rest. So I think I finally found something that works for not just me, but us, all of us. So to be fair, I only want to comment on the things that I've seen and heard from veritable sources. Because if I don't watch it, I obviously can't tell you much about it. And I want to try to do... Now, this first one's kind of a rough draft, hence all the ad-libs and and brief pauses, because this is my first time doing it this way. So I'm not on camera like I want to be. My original plan was to get on my computer and do this, but it's saying that the camera doesn't work. I have a nice Razer branded microphone that I was ecstatic to finally use, only for my computer to say that it's not recognizing the camera. And I found out right when I was about to record on there that this was the issue. And I wasn't prepared to do a full-length video on my phone because it needed to charge. And I'm not really too keen on using my phone while it's charging. But in this instance, a necessary evil, right? Not for nothing, I also have seen my videos. I look back at my videos sometimes. I kind of got the HBKI thing going, where, or I guess you could also say the Biggie keeping an eye on Diddy meme eye. Because this is a picture online of Biggie and Diddy in the studio, and Biggie's got one eye on the studio equipment and his other eye's going towards Diddy, and it's like Biggie was just trying to keep an eye on Diddy because he knew, or something like that. You gotta watch Diddy. Sometimes my eye does that. It's like, I guess it comes with age. Like, you get a little cockeyed. Sometimes one eye is looking at the camera and the other one's wandering. I don't know, looking at my figures over here, posing on the side or something like that. Or my, what's this, my paper shredder? I don't know. So there's that insecurity as well. But, let's get to it, guys. Sorry for the long preamble here. Again, this is my first time doing it in this format. And because of it, it's kind of unstructured. It's kind of unprofessional. It was this week that I decided I wanted to do it this way. So in future uploads, it will be in chronological order. And maybe even include pictures. But what I want to do this time, and for every installment, or every episode, or upload, is include links to the things I'm talking about so you guys can go see them for yourselves, at the very least. So the first thing that I have here, note-wise, is Kevin Owens being out for WrestleMania. Now, if you go and watch this, again, I'll provide the links. Going into it, especially with the press that it got, and he even did, I didn't watch this just yet, but he did an interview with, what's it, Live in My Mom's Basement or something like that. In My Mom's Basement. It's a podcast. Cool kid. Speaking about why he won't be at Mania because of a neck injury. So if you go into it, you're going in with all sincerity. It was all over the news. The wrestling, not the real news, but wrestling Twitter and the IWC and on YouTube that Kevin Owens is going to be out for Mania. And then when you watch the segment, Kevin Owens comes out. Now, people are subtle. And if you got the right eyes for it, you will notice these subtleties. Kevin Owens comes out with a pink Bret Hart jacket, right? But Kevin Owens has done everything in WWE. And he's turned on numerous, if not all of his partners. And you could tell when he's hamming it up. And that's what I got out of this segment. Him just mentioning Orton, and then Orton coming out when Kevin Owens is about to leave. It felt like a work. And even Orton coming out during it made it feel like a work. Now, what I was thinking was this. A couple of weeks ago, we were all going crazy about the spot with Jon Moxley and Edge with the spiked bat, and how Moxley took that suplex onto it and got legitimately impaled by some of the nails on that bat or that 2x4, what have you. And it was legit. It probably wasn't meant to go that far, but it happened. And what I feel is going on in wrestling is because you got people like Triple H and The Rock basically going out there and telling you, hey, these are heels and faces, and these are characters we're playing and things like that. That kayfabe seems to be all but dead. But what can you do in today's era to still suspend disbelief and shock the audience? And I feel like semi-shoots are the new kayfabe. Doing things with realness and are grounded in reality is the new kayfabe, the new way of making people believe and really wonder. And it's been a thing in wrestling forever, right? But now more than ever, it's like, okay, well, if we legitimately, hell, even going back to 2000, what was it, 14 or whatever year that was, I think it may have been 2018, SummerSlam, where Brock Lesnar bloodied Randy Orton with the elbows, right? That was legit. But it had people wondering, like, wow, is this real? Did he really cut him open with the elbows? And it was, obviously agreed upon beforehand. But even with this, it's like, it's completely plausible that Kevin Owens could be out with a broken neck. But then you just have to remember certain tropes in wrestling and things like that. And even remember last time situations like this happened. When Mark Henry did his fake retirement, he also wore a salmon jacket or a pink jacket. And if, when it first happened, you didn't catch it. It was live, right? But then when you go back and look at it, it's like, why would he do that? Why would he hold the championship up? Why would he call John Cena out? You know what I mean? Why would he mention the events and stuff like that? So when you blend in a little bit of reality, press-wise, that's how you get people in to say, hey, I'm really going to do this. So you already, marinated the viewer, so to speak. And now you got the viewer in, and then you get them. Then you hit them with the, ha-ha, I got you. But we didn't get that with Kevin Owens. But when I look back at Mark Henry's speech and the tropes and the mentions and the mannerisms, I'm like, wait, Kevin Owens is doing a lot of the same things. And then he's got the pink jacket on because he loves bread. So he's kind of like doing a double entendre, really a triple entendre, because the pink salmon, the salmon jacket, Mark Henry, Kevin Owens being a huge Bret Hart fan, and then doing it in his own way. You know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about it yet. You can watch it on your own and get your own things out of it. And then it's Kevin Owens too, whose reputation in WWE is that he's a snake and he is insincere and will do whatever it takes to snake his opponents. And he's playing mind games with one of the best psychological heels in WWE, and Randy Orton. So I don't know, but I'm gonna go back and watch the segment again. Second thing, and this happened before the Kevin Owens thing. That's why I say this is just a beta, so don't judge me too much here. But Cena and Cody, and this thing was insane. It reminded me so much of a Smack URL battle, because they were just going out there, and it was almost like Thugonomics Cena, but the adult version, the more mature version. They were throwing barbs at each other. Now, a lot of people said that Cena got the better of Cody, and once it was brought, once I listened to other people's perspective, I'm like, yeah, he kind of did get the better of Cody. Because at first I'm like, why is Cena saying things about Cody that Cody should be saying about him, like exposing him for the real person and stuff like that? But then I'm like, wait a minute, Cena's kind of got a point. Cody is very polished and perfect, and this is in total antithesis of what his dad was. Like, Dusty was beer belly, son of a plumber, regular guy. And you look at Cody is got all the pyro in the world, beautiful wife and kids, awesome dog, eloquent, king of elocution as far as on the mic, aside from the lisp, which he did mention. He kind of pulled the Eminem move and basically said it's like, look, yeah, I do got this. Yeah, I can't recite the entire 8 Mile scene rap that Eminem did, but he basically went self-deprecating and said all the things that his opponent would use against him before he could use it against him. And Cody mentioned his lisp and everything, and how he got booed in the company he created, AEW. There's a lot of, what's the word? Subliminal dissing here, and mentions here of people who otherwise cannot be named, and companies that cannot be named. But, Cena has a thing with, it seems like and later I'll speak on, with Charlotte, they both have a thing in common where it's like, okay, we're going to go off script, and we're going to test our opponents to see if they could do it back in a tactful manner, or they'll get rattled or taken by surprise by it. And that's why I've always gotten out Cena's promos. It's like, it seems like he went off script, or, shot on his opponents every time. And I think Cody has been, like, he got Cody in this promo, but I think Cody has been the most formidable foe to Cena when it comes to this. Because Cena likes to do that. Cena likes to, okay, we're play fighting, but I'm going to hit you for real. But you can't hit me back like that. You know what I mean? Because Cena, who's going to go against Cena? Unless you're at somebody's level like Cody or Roman or even Punk were. Solo Sikoa had no chance. Austin Theory had no chance. Miz had no chance. And even Rock, now they're saying, I know I'm digressing here, but back then when Rock had that promo battle with Cena, and Cena addressed Rock having promo notes on his wrist, some people believe that was a low blow to mention that, and that's why Rock got rattled. Me personally, I've never recalled Rock ever doing that ever before in a promo. And I think that it was just something that, again, you can even go far back then, something that let's make it seem like a real thing because kayfabe is dead to get them, to still get that suspension of disbelief, making the fans believe, like, hey, was that real? Or was that... I don't think that was legit. I think that was planned because Rock's never done that. But then, you could say, like, Cena likes to go rogue, so it's completely plausible. But, man, he got the better of Cody here, and they, Cody says that he kind of low-key mentioned Vince, saying that the person we can't talk about here, created you. And if you really think about it, it wasn't until I listened to... Whose podcast was I listening to? Oh, Busted Open. Bubba mentioned it, how Vince and Bruce Pritchard were the ones who went to Cody's home via private jet to get him to sign his WWE contract and the terms and the conditions and agreements to it, and brought him back. And I'm like, wait. But, you know what I'm saying? Vince did have the major thing to do with Cody come back to the company. But he still kind of got Cena with that one. Because Cena was his modern Hogan. He helped make Cena, and he put him at the forefront. And he gave him the Super Cena push and had him go over a lot of people that Cena should have let go over him, just like he did Roman, just like he did Hogan. Austin was like the only person that we, accepted it with, and kind of didn't even notice that, hey, Austin didn't really put over a lot of people back in the day. Rock put over people like Steven Richards and Al Snow and Lesnar. Austin really didn't do a lot of that. He's like the only person that... But Austin got away with it because we loved Austin. Took a swig here of my large cup of high C. And I seem to flow a little bit better when I'm not on camera, but I still have that problem with prolix statements and comments. But so this promo was just excellent. And like I said, I'll provide the link so you can see it yourself. It's like a 20-minute segment, 15, 20-minute segment. But, it's a lot of profanity. They are on Netflix. Cody mentioned that Cena can't wrestle. Cena got him when he said, hey, I made empires for billionaires. You just steal their money. Definitely a shot at Tony Khan. I think what happened here was Cody held his own, but Cena he hit him harder. He hit harder hits, you know what I mean? But Cody held his own up in there. So, I don't even remember much of what Cody was saying over what Cena was saying. Called him his chauffeur and everything, because Cody, back in the day when he was coming up, when he's a young boy in WWE, used to be the chauffeur for Cena, carry his bags and shit. So, trying to think of anything that Cody said, other than he can't wrestle and things like that, and I don't know, man. Cena got him, man. I feel like I should have watched it again before I did this video, but didn't have a lot of time. So, the next thing is Rey Fenix debuting. And he had his debut here on SmackDown. Red and gold gear. And he had his debut match against Nathan Frazier. And I like how Axiom and Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, have been getting a little bit of TV time over the past, couple of weeks. Axiom went against Gunther last week, I think it was. And Nathan Frazier faces Fenix here in his debut. And Frazier is one of the perfect guys to go up in there because he wrestles a style that complements Rey Fenix's style. If you watch Nathan Frazier, he is a student of Seth Rollins' Black and Bold Academy out in Iowa. He wrestles a lot like 2012 Shield, pre-Shield Seth Rollins does. I mean, his moveset, he's a very dynamic performer like Seth used to be prior to the knee injuries. And to me, he kind of looks like Phil Collins facially. If you look at Nathan, tell me, go right now and look up Phil Collins and Nathan Frazier and tell me they don't favor each other. It's insane, this resemblance. I've also been listening to a lot of Phil Collins as of late. But Fenix picked up the W. He kind of used a variation of the Fenix driver. That might not be the name of it. Basically, kind of like the Fire Thunder driver he does. The same move that he used against Jon Moxley after Moxley was semi-conscious from the dive in their match that he had. A lot of people think that's what caused Moxley to be concussed and out of it. Really, what happened was in that match was that Rey Fenix did like a running senton of some sort to Moxley off the stage and got Moxley real good on the head. And then, that's later when he did the finisher. He did it twice to Moxley when he was pretty much out of it. But he did a variation of it. It looked more like an Emerald Flosion or Emerald Fusion. And then Nathan Frazier kicked out. So Fenix ends up winning with, I do not know the name of his finisher, which is crazy. I got Fenix and Pentagon, action figures. They're AEW figures, which I don't think WWE is going to be able to top. Up in my figure room over here. And I don't remember the name of their finishers. But Fenix's finisher, you see it in the video. It's kind of like a muscle buster positioned Falcon Arrow. So like he'll have them, it's basically like a Falcon Arrow, but he turns them into like, he has them in like the muscle buster position, and then he does it that way. Pretty dope looking move. He beat Nathan Frazier with that. And then delivered a very emotional promo. Cried a bit. Then he's got a video in the back with him hugging Triple H. And nobody could give Tony Khan shit anymore about hugging people and hugging superstars and crying because they... Well, you know what? Actually, I take that back because in Tony's videos, it's Tony doing what the wrestlers should be doing. Like, it's Tony marking out and crying over the wrestlers he's signing. Whereas with Triple H, it's the wrestlers shaking Triple H's hand and hugging him and being lacrimose because they're finally signed. And, what I liked about this and Pentagon is when they did their promos, it was just straight from the heart. You could feel the emotion just exuding from them because they're finally where they fought years in Mexico and on Lucha Underground and had shitty runs later in AEW to get here. And when those two finally teamed up, it's going to draw. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. But right now, I think having one on Raw and one on SmackDown so they could, establish themselves to this, newer WWE casual audience who may not have even seen their AEW work or seen Lucha Underground or even MLW. I think this is the right way to do it. Trinity versus Naomi have been going back and forth on Twitter. Now this, I can't say ad verbatim. And a lot of things they were saying, you got to kind of go look. They should have been saying on TV. There should have been segments. There should have been kind of like what we had with Tiffany and Charlotte, and I'm going to get to that. But little split screens or, contract signings, or maybe Jade's in a ring and Naomi's via satellite. They should have had some type of back and forth, saying some of the shit that they said to each other on X on WWE TV. Because Naomi has put herself up there with McIntyre and Owens, who mentioned earlier, as somebody that flames and goes scorched earth on a motherfucker on X. And this is where a lot of her heel stuff is showing, and it's like, I guess the revolution won't be televised, will it? Because this is where everybody's giving her praise. It's like, wow, she's really doing some good heel shit. I mean, at least since her and Bianca had that promo, but it's almost like, remember when we have like a video game or something like that, or a movie, and then the movies will get like a semi-sequel, but then it'd be a comic book or some shit like that, or like a web comic, and it's like Batman did that. Batman 89 did that, where we basically got the sequel we were going to get of Batman Returns with Robin, Marlon Wayans playing Robin, which would have been a funny thing to see. And I think it would have been Billy D. Williams' Two-Face. Well, what they did was, instead of giving us the movie adaptation to it, they gave us a quasi-sequel, if you will, but in the form of a comic book. And I feel like this is the same thing here. It's like the sequel to Naomi's brilliant segment with Bianca has been extended and expanded upon, but on X. And everybody's not on X. Some people still call it Twitter. Like, I'm still calling it Twitter. And speaking of that, segueing, and yeah, Naomi and Jade had a very good segment tonight. It's a pull apart, beat down, whatever. A lot of these times, Naomi's been getting her ass kicked by Jade. I think maybe once she's gotten the better of Jade. And then everybody was expecting the Meta Girls to come in and team with Naomi. And that hasn't happened yet. They're doing like other stuff with TNA and what have you. But perfect segue from names and things like that. Kurt Angle did an interview earlier this year. I think it was Chris Van Vliet, and Chris Van Vliet did mention how us and the IWC referred to Kurt Angle's run at TNA, where he's just like an indefatigable android, a real legitimate wrestling machine who could just had this weird, crazy threshold for pain and could just keep going with no, just no nonstop. We called him Perk Angle. And in that interview with Chris Van Vliet, Kurt Angle mentioned how it kind of did get to him when we would call him that, because that represents a time in his life when he's at his darkest and lowest point, from a personal standpoint, outside of in-ring. It was like we got to see him. We got to see him drunk and fun, but we didn't see the hangover. And Kurt mentioned how, he gets the intentions behind it, and he appreciates us appreciating his work at that time. But he would also appreciate, like, if we didn't say that because of what it represents. And he did a video recently thanking fans for getting acclimatized to call him Peak Angle. And that's something for me to get used to. Just like with Twitter, like I was mentioning with Naomi and Jade. I still call him Perk Angle, and I need to, out of respect for the man, the legend who won the Olympics with a broken freaking neck, I need to inure myself to call him Peak Angle. We've been calling him Perk Angle for so long that's like, now all of a sudden, it's like calling Kanye West Ye. It's simple, it's one syllable, but We've been calling you Kanye West forever. And then I feel like you'll go back to being Kanye West, kind of like Diddy did Puff Daddy and yada yada. We call him an asshole nowadays, though. We call him the diddler. That I have no problem calling him because of what he's done and been accused of. Some of which is only accusations, and some of which is like, oh yeah, he definitely did that shit. But I think you associate certain identities with these names. Like I don't really fuck with modern Kanye. Kanye to me was 2004 to 2008, 2009, his best work. A little bit before Donda passed away. So with Peak Angle, okay, I said it there. It's like, damn, I've been calling you Perk Angle for so long. It's like, but this is something I could get used to. It's Kurt Angle, man. He's one of, and Kurt's no saint. I mean, he had his affairs back in the day, and he had the whole provoking the situation with Daniel Puder. A lot of people know he provoked that situation, being defiant and, kind of bullying the Tough Enough crew back then in that segment, going legit on them, shooting on them. And then what else did he do? I don't recall Kurt doing any other jerk moves outside of the Tough Enough incident and affairs, but which he admitted to. But he's an overall nice guy, and him doing the video thanking us for, hey, thank you for recognizing that I want to be called this. It's just out of respect. It's Kurt Angle. He's a good dude. So the next thing, I'm gonna try to run through these because where am I in this voice recording? I'm already at 37 minutes. I wanted to max out an hour. I don't know how much of my voice you all could withstand with my hundreds of ums, but if you could do Shawn Michaels with his what's Shawn Michaels ad lib? I'm like, damn, if you did the drugs Shawn Michaels did back in the 90s, for each time he said, you would have been fucking Greg the Hammer Valentine in this bitch. But, let's not pick on Shawn. I even said in the beginning, like, one of the things I like about doing these videos is that I'm not on camera. Because I kind of got the Shawn Michaels thing going. I was going to say, maybe Rob Van Dam could do a shoot making fun of me being cross-eyed like he did Shawn back in the day. It's an all-time infamous clip. I'll probably link that too. Now the links won't be immediate. I'll have to upload this and, doing this voice recording on my iPhone that I contradicted myself is charging while I do it. I'll upload this and then add the links a little bit after I upload it. Because I've never done it this way. But the next thing I have here is Stephanie Vicker on NXT having to relinquish the North American Championship, the Women's North American Championship. And this is similar to what they did with Keith Lee. Now, I don't remember if Keith Lee got to defend it before he relinquished it. And a lot of people are like, man, what you even have her win the championship for? It was just to do Julia a favor. She's a new signing. They want to curry favor with her. They want to appease her. She's a prospect. She's somebody that, they see a lot in. And she wasn't feeling too well. She was having some nagging injuries, which, I'll also get to later. Turns out to not been so bad. And they're like, well, what better way can we do this? We don't know the severity of it just yet, but it's well enough where she could lose in the match and we could draw money with it. And we don't want anybody to beat Julia and her lose her aura without being somebody that's greater or equal to her star power. So that's why they had Stephanie defeat her on regular NXT television for the championship. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given that match away like that. Some people feel like, to a lesser extent, it's basically like the NXT version of like Hogan versus Goldberg. It's like, wow, this is like a pay-per-view worthy match, an NXT PLE level match. We're getting it on free TV, and so abruptly. It was because Julia had injuries. But Stephanie had to relinquish it. There's going to be a 6-way or a multi-women match. I think they're doing qualifying matches on NXT TV to determine who's going to be in this match. I think Stand and Deliver. It's going to be a lot of I thinks because NXT, I only see the highlights of and things like that. Like, ever since they dropped the takeovers format, it's kind of hard to keep up with all these names like Stand and Deliver and Roadblock and Great American Bash and No Mercy and Bad Blood was an NXT pay-per-view. And then last time they had it was a WWE main event, PLE. So it's kind of hard for me to keep up with the NXT event titles and dates. But the next NXT event is where this match is going to take place. And it's going to be on WrestleMania Saturday. So, I think so far Jordynne Grace is in the match. And it's like, wow, it's short-lived. And then there was whole back and forth with Mandy Rose about if she was the first double champion, because they were saying Stephanie McCurry was the first double champion. And if it was legit the first time someone's been a women's double champion in NXT, because Mandy won hers. She won the NXT UK championship and combined it with the NXT Women's Championship, unified them. Whereas Stephanie won the North American Championship while she was the Women's Champion. Or she was I think she was the North American Champion and won the NXT Women's Championship from Julia and defended them both. So I don't know. I don't think it counts because Mandy Rose didn't defend the championship. She won it and it became a part of what she already had. So with her to fuse it into one, I don't know if that makes her a technical double champion. Maybe it does. But there was her going back and forth with fans about it and whatnot. She did this video, rejoinder to the fans about it, and it seemed a little bit in character of her, the way her cadence and stuff was, her voice and her tone. But anyway, Stephanie relinquished. We're going to have a multi-woman match at the next NXT event, PLE, April 19th, WrestleMania Saturday. I might as well put this next. Julia is already back. She was at a live event already. And I think she's going to be in this match. They're going to bring it back on TV this coming Tuesday, possibly. And I think they're going to continue where they left off. She's going to get her championship back. And maybe we revisit Stephanie versus Julia in a longer match. Because their first match was only 9 minutes. But maybe let Julia get her win back, have her be the only person to beat Stephanie, and get it on an actual NXT pay-per-view, PLE. But she's already back, and maybe the injuries weren't as bad as we thought. It so reminds me of when Mr. Kennedy had an injury, and they had to find a way for him to get the Money in the Bank briefcase off of him, so they had Edge beat him like a quick match after he attacked him backstage, before he attacked him backstage, and Edge beat him for the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was how Edge won his second briefcase. And then Kennedy comes back and is like, hey, that injury wasn't that bad after all. It's like, yeah, but we kind of already moved on with our plans. But a different situation here, you know what I'm saying? Julia has a lot more equity in her short time than Kennedy did back then. I think they kind of already didn't like Kennedy a little bit. And it's like his misdemeanors were already treated like felonies because they didn't like him back then. But yeah, it still reminds me of that. Julia's already back. So I think she's going to get added to that multi-woman match and win her title back. The other thing in the news here is Rusev has, per PW Insider, re-signed with WWE. Don't know what that means for Lana just yet. But Rusev is said to be signed back with WWE, and I believe it because they said the same thing about Rey Fenix, and lo and behold, he debuted. I don't know about Aleister Black, but I can also see him coming back. Man, what's killing me about these signings, though, is I'm a big gamer. I got 2K25 here on my gaming laptop that won't let me record with a camera, hence me having to do a voice recording. The WWE 2K25 roster is a little bit already antiquated. And I like mods. I love mods and whatnot, but mods don't really do much for the move sets unless you already have like a move pack that included some of the, like Speedball Mike Bailey. If he signed with WWE, it's okay, cool, because they introduced a lot of his moves and the move set pack from 2K24, the Pat McAfee pack, to make up for it being a Pat McAfee pack. Nobody wanted to play with his buddies, but their way of making good on that was, hey, we're gonna bring in all these people nobody's gonna play with, but they'll have all these cool moves from wrestlers you want in the company that really aren't signed. But then Rey Fenix, they don't have his finisher in the game. So it's like the little muscle buster looking thing, they don't have that in the game. But they have like a standing version of it, I guess you could use. They just don't have the corner version. I guess you could. Rey Fenix has such a different moveset. Like, they don't have his springboard 450 in the game, or the one where he kind of like is in the ring and then jumps on the third rope and then does it, like he used to do in Lucha Underground. So for me, yeah, the mods, so authentic looking, so on par with the models already in the game, but the move sets, and hey, maybe we'll get to the point where people have already done amazing things with the mods this year. Like, somebody made it where you could do the moves without having to grapple, like on No Mercy in the game, and I'm like, you are the man, sir. I like that, the man, sir. There used to be a show called Mansers, but the man, you are the man who is the answer. So it's like they're already doing amazing things. I would love it if they're able to find a way to get the moves from Fight Forever into 2K25. That would be sublime. But it makes the game feel outdated. And then we got Rusev signed, and we're going to have Aleister Black. I'm sure he's going to come back. I mean, Zelina Vega's there. We were lucky to get Penta coming in as DLC, the first pack being in May, and Stephanie Verker and Julia. But then we got Ricky Saints. We don't even have a proper Rochambeau in the game. We got Dominator, but we don't have the running one like he does. I guess the Dominator will work. So it's like the roster is getting all these exciting new signings and re-signings. And then it's all like a month after 2K25 came out. And with the way things are going politically right now in this country, who knows what's going to happen with 2K26 next year. But I mean, you want to say, hey, we're going to be all right because, it's American-made, 2Ks in America and whatnot, but who knows, man. So yeah, Rusev's re-signed, and I don't know. I think what's going to happen, this is my idea. What I would do is have Jay beat Gunther, and then Gunther comes out the next night, and the first opponent and feud he has is with Rusev. Rusev debuts back on Raw. And maybe you could have him interact with Judgment Day, and they try to recruit him, and he says, there is no Judgment Day. There is only Rusev Day. You know, maybe even bring back Aiden English. So yeah, that's what I think should happen with Rusev. Next thing, like I said, non-chronological, Punk's favor. Was finally revealed this past Friday on SmackDown. And basically, spoiler alert, it's not really a spoiler if it's already happened, right? Well, you might not have seen it already, but hey, I'll have the link in. Punk's favor, long story short, was that he is going to have Paul Heyman be in his corner at WrestleMania. Now, I feel like this is one of those things where they let it linger for a little bit, like the Cranberry song, while they figure out what it was going to be. Because this favor goes all the way back to Survivor Series. And if you go back and you do a little bit of math based on what Punk's intentions were for as far as Mania, I don't know if he mentioned it then. I don't know if that was originally the plan, was for it to be that Punk wanted Paul Heyman to be his corner at Mania. I don't know if Punk would have said, I mean, maybe there'd be another promo coming out where Punk says, my plan was to go to Mania and be in the main event and win the championship, but you eliminated me, or you and Seth eliminated me or whatever, and I want Paul Heyman by my side when I did it, and that was the favor. But I don't know. It seems a little, even Roman was like, that's it, that's the favor, but Roman's like, that's not going to happen. Ain't that right, Paul? Tell him. And then they milked it for a little bit, built that anticipation up for Heyman to say, no, my tribal chief, I cannot say that. And it's like Paul Heyman got a nice ovation again. It goes right back to that statement with Solo where he's like, you are not my tribal chief. Heyman's real good at milking these segments, man. That's why I feel like him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame last year was a little premature. Because Hall of Fame should be when you're no longer active duty. He's still delivering some of his best work, his finest work, post Hall of Fame. So it's like, man, the guy's a legend, dude. But and then, Roman gets him in the corner and he puts, start tugging on his shirt like, you son of a bitch. And then Punk attacked him and then, big brawl afterward. I think Seth just left the ring. About Seth, though, I wanted to mention, this one I really wish I could do a picture. Actually, what I'll do is that'll be the picture for this recording. Seth had on an all brown jumpsuit or something like that, or I don't know. I'm thinking of GTA 5. I don't know. It was because remember the GTA 5 heist where you all have to go to the beach and get like the heist outfits, and you get like a blue jumpsuit, a green jumpsuit, and a gray jumpsuit. And then you could get a monkey mask, or you have skull mask, whatever. I don't remember the jumpsuit color. But somebody with their astute observation on Instagram noticed that Seth had on the same boots that Bray had on when he first came back and did his segment. And I commented that, wow, I call those the, ready for it, the Botchamania moment here, the Kazuya Mishima boots. And then somebody says, well, it would have been Jin Kazama, because Jin Kazama is the one who wore the flame attire. I'm like, son of a bitch, you're right. On Tekken fucking 5, he did wear the flame boots. They also had those boots, some boots similar to that on No Mercy. Actually, I think it was the Gangrel boots. So I redid my statement and then shouted out the guy who corrected me in parentheses, like, yeah, you're right, they are the Jin Kazama boots. But little nuance there. Seth giving and Kobe until the late Bray Wyatt with those boots on that looked very, very much similar, or may have been the same boots that Bray had when he first returned. I only got a few more things here. The last two, one of them being the penultimate, is Tiffany and Charlotte's promo. This shit was a shit show. Tiffany and Charlotte have no chemistry, but I think that's what made this promo. It was so bad it was good type territory, because the first time they had that split screen, Charlotte got the better of Tiffany, kind of embarrassed her, talked over her. It felt like I was saying earlier, like Charlotte went into business for herself, went off script, overtalked Tiffany, and Tiffany was just like shocked. And even in this one, Tiffany was a little bit nervous. She stumbled upon herself a little bit. But two things that helped her here: Chicago is a wrestling city, and we don't really fuck with Charlotte like that. Even when SummerSlam 2018 happened and Becky turned on I guess heel at that time after the match with Charlotte, we in Chicago, I was at a bar, and it was a signing, and Kevin Nash was there. We all cheered when Becky did that to Charlotte. We don't really fuck with Charlotte, man, because she's kind of an asshole. And it showed here too. And it showed somebody was like doing a case study, I guess. It's like, look at some of the other cases of Charlotte being a bitch. They had, when she had that TLC match, I think it was her and Becky versus the Kabuki Warriors. She basically got reckless with Kairi Sane. I'm like, why does everybody get reckless with Kairi, little happy self? You know what I mean? She's just an innocent Chinese, innocent Japanese girl. Nia busted her open and hurt her. You know what I mean? When she was, I think she threw her against the steps and cut her open. A little bit too much strength behind it. And then Charlotte gave her a fall-away slam too far away from the barricade to where she kind of hit her head and got a concussion, similar to like when Kurt Angle gave Shane McMahon those overhead belly-to-belly suplexes through the glass at King of the Ring in 2001, or I think 2001. And he just fell on his head the same way Kairi fell on her head from the fall-away slam. And she got a concussion, and then I guess Kairi then, her faculties wasn't there because she got a concussion, wasn't completely, she kind of dead-weighted Charlotte's powerbomb through a table. And prior to that, Charlotte gave her like a spear and then smacked her, you know what I mean? Because I guess Kairi didn't sell it all that well. So I digress, but Charlotte has a tendency to have done this. Like in promos, you got the promo where she dropped the belt with Becky and Sonya Deville, made her pick her back up. She's kind of a bitch, man. And it's just like, she did it with Tiffany last week, but this week Tiffany got her receipt, and her having Chicago on her side, because Tiffany seems like she would be like Charlotte was. She seems like she's this, especially with her being with Kaiser, Kaiser being German, and the little undertones with him and Gunther, the little Nazi overtones with them. You would think that they would be like up in the nose in the air assholes, but Kaiser comes off as a really good dude. And maybe it's because he was talking to Chris Van Vliet. Chris Van Vliet is just, and he was in attendance here. He's just a cool dude. So maybe he just disarms people like that. It's like, man, like, you can't not be cool around Chris Van Vliet. You just feel at home with that guy. But Kaiser did an interview with him, and he just seemed like such a good dude. So you would think, like, wow, he's not like his character at all. But that's what makes some of the best characters, is when it could be either way. Like, you could be an accentuation of who you really are, turned up, or some of the best characters are the people that are completely not who they are on TV in person. So you see her with Kaiser, more on that later, and, you know, she's like, looks so perfect. You would think that she would be, in real life, kind of standoffish, look down on people. But people like Tiffany, you know what I'm saying? Because she seems like a nice woman. I started to come around on her because I started to believe the hype. Like, Tiffany looks like the type of person that will roll her eyes at me if I say hi to her. I don't like her. But people started to come around on Tiffany, and it's like, you know, she's actually good in a ring, and she seems like Charlotte, but with a more positive attitude and less of a diva complex. And I think Charlotte's starting to give into the goddess complex a little bit. And Tiffany won here. You know what I mean? She got her licks back because Charlotte tried the over-talking thing and tried to say, you're not the first person to talk about my ties to my dad and whatnot. And Tiffany brought up her interview where she went on there talking about her divorce, and she was crying on the show. And I don't think Charlotte expected that. Charlotte couldn't even talk. Because she was getting Dominic Mysterio heat. Every time she tried to talk, she got drowned out by the audience. And never have I ever seen Charlotte get rattled by the fans booing her or not approving of her like this. She even had to say, you know what, Tiffany, I'll let you get the last word. And that's when Tiffany is like, oh, you really don't want me to do that. She went in on her marriages. It's like, how many marriages have you had? Are you like 0 and 3? And that's how she closed the promo. She's like, are you like 0 and 3 in marriages? Woo! She gave like an Owen Hart woo. It wasn't a Ric Flair woo. It was like the Owen Hart woo. And then got out the ring. And then she talked about how she's going to be alone, just like she is in real life, in her personal life too. Yeah, she shot on Charlotte. And it was sloppy. They were trying to talk over each other. And I think that's what sometimes makes some of the better segments and stuff like that, is when it's not so perfect and rehearsed. Same thing with matches. It's like when it looks so perfect and rehearsed, but not too sloppy, like not like AEW move rehearsing, but not quite sloppy like Bill Goldberg versus Undertaker, kind of in the middle. That's what makes the better promos and matches, because it's like, wow, like, blur the lines a little bit. And we're in a blur the lines era where it's like people, the new shooting is the new kayfabe. Shooting is the new work. So some of the comments that we perceive here, like, wow, that was a little bit below the belt. It's a new way to work the fans, because now we're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where's the Wyatt Six at? But anyway, I know where they are. Bo's out injured. You can't have them. You can't have the head of the Voltron without the head, I guess. But at the end of it, after Tiffany said, you're 3-0 in marriages, or 0 and 3 in marriages, woo! Charlotte goes and says, oh yeah, is that why Kaiser's in my DMs? She went for a sunny days moment. Because truth of the matter is, not a lot of people, especially because they haven't shown it on WWE TV, know that Kaiser and, you know, Tiffany are an actual item in real life. The hardcore fans like us, the people that's into wrestling like we are, we know. We follow these wrestlers on Threads and X and Instagram, and we know it. But they haven't mentioned that on WWE TV at all, because Tiffany's the face, and even when she was a heel, because of characters, they never tied her with Kaiser or even shown that. There's no Total Divas anymore where they're showing them as a couple. So it kind of went, overhead because everybody was still reacting to and cheering to Tiffany. And I don't even think Tiffany fully caught what Charlotte said. But Kaiser's not in Charlotte's DMs. Everybody's going at Charlotte because of their age. Like if they saw Charlotte in person, they wouldn't bang. I'm like, don't be ageist now. Like, Charlotte can still work when she feels like it. She could put on a very good match, just like she did with Rhea last, or the year before last. I think it was the year before last. Charlotte can still work. She still has value, but she needs to stop with the goddess complex and stop being such a diva. Stop being unprofessional, really. Sometimes you gotta put people over, and I guess she gets like real attitudinal and bratty, and when it comes to putting people over, which is something her father didn't do, because Rick put everybody over. He barely ever won with the fucking figure four leg lock, honestly. Rick, as far as putting people over, only time you ever heard of him having a hard time putting somebody over was Scott Steiner. That's where they had beef at. But Rick lost a lot back then. He lost to fucking Umaga. I think Carlito beat him, or did he beat Carlito, I think, for Intercontinental Championship? And then Shelton beat him for the Intercontinental Championship. Rick had like a weird thing where he was winning championships late in his career. Like, he won the tag team championships with Roddy Piper. They're like the oldest tag team champions in WWE history or some shit like that. And then he won Intercontinental Championship because he had never won it before. 92, Ric Flair with that title would have been awesome. But he was world champion twice. But he was very unselfish, you know what I'm saying? Very giving and put a lot of people over. Whereas Charlotte seems to not really like doing that, or gets an attitude when it comes to like making others look good at her expense. Business is about giving, you know what I'm saying? You can't always do that. And sometimes when you do it, it looks bad on you. Sometimes later we could understand why you did it. Like with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar. When it happened, everybody was just throwing Stone Cold's name under the dirt. And then he had the shit happen with Deborah, which for that, he did deserve his name being thrown under the dirt. You don't put your hands on women like that. But later on, when it comes out the reason why Austin walked out on WWE, they just want him to lose to Brock Lesnar in like probably a sub 10-minute match on a regular Monday Night Raw with no build. Like, this is fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin, guys. Like, this is the guy who's had the company for the past 4 years with The Rock and Triple H, but mainly him. He's the face of your biggest era at the time, the Attitude Era. I think right now, physically, they're in a better place than they were then. And you just want him to lose a regular run-of-the-mill, no-build King of the Ring qualifying match on Raw to Brock Lesnar. I would have probably not liked that either. He was already having problems with creative. That was just his breaking point. But Charlotte, we all look at and say, girl, just fucking do it. Chill. You go have your 16 women's championships. Just not right now. If you could quit right now, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? You've had your legacy. You've done your shit. You know what I'm saying? So just be patient. Chill. This person right here is the future. Doesn't mean exactly Rick kicking you out. You know what I mean? So, and I don't think if Charlotte was acting the way she did, she'd be getting all these ageist jokes and stuff like that at her expense if she was a trooper. Because on the flip side, you could be saying, wow, Charlotte's got the experience. I mean, nobody was saying this about Shawn Michaels when he was 39 years old or what have you. Shawn came back when he was 39, I believe. 35 years old, some shit like that. Shawn came back. So Shawn was born in 65. Okay? he came back. So that means he was 30 and 95. So when Shawn came back, he was 42? No. Couldn't be. Right? I suck at math, y'all. Shawn Michaels came back. Was he 37? Shawn Michaels came back. Yeah, he was 37 years old. Nobody was talking about Shawn Michaels' age. He was just happy he was there. Nobody was talking. And Charlotte's kind of like, well, Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels. But Charlotte's a top-tier performer like that. But if Shawn was being a dickhead to like Chris Jericho or somebody like that, who he's not that much older than or younger than, you know what I mean? Jericho was born in 70, so Jericho would have been 32. Hell, even Rob Van Dam would have been 32. Somebody a little bit younger, people will win at Shawn's age. But Shawn just wrestled so fucking good, dude, and was so giving in the ring that you didn't even notice his age. And what do you do if you want to hurt a woman's feelings? You go at their weight and you go at their age. So I think that part too, it's like, let's hurt Charlotte by talking about her being old and this girl being younger and more beautiful than her. I'm like, that's kind of low. But anyway, the last thing I have here is Mello and Miz are now a tag team on SmackDown. They had a little brief segment with the Yes Boys, is what I like to call them. I'm so glad I wasn't on camera saying that. My European Edge and Christian is what I like to call them. Pretty Deadly. That's what they remind me of. They remind me, like, they could be like a European Edge and Christian. Now they're baby faces. They've been getting pushed as baby faces on SmackDown. And they had a little backstage segment. They made fun of the Marine movies that Miz played in and said something about how Miz is latching on to a younger, more handsome person, kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's basically WWE's Leonardo DiCaprio. It was a funny segment for what it was. Pretty Deadly's awesome, though. They're pretty awesome. Miz and Carmelo Hayes' tag team is called Mello Don't Miz. And then I'm like, that's actually not a bad name. And Miz is somebody that his best work is always when he has somebody with him. Like, I remember on Wrestling Soup that Mish, one of the hosts, said that Miz always needs somebody to be like, yeah, that's right, behind him when he says something. And he's right. Like, Miz does his best work. If you look at Miz's career, his best runs was when he had a team or stable. The Miz Taraj, working with Wyatt Six, working with Karrion Kross, working with R-Truth, working with Morrison, working with Big Show. Hell, for a short time, him and Jericho teamed. I wanted that to last, but it didn't. Because they were so similar, you know what I'm saying? Similar looks, and even had the same finisher. Cena, Jericho used to use the breakdown, which is basically skull crushing finale. Back when he was winning an Undisputed Championship against Stone Cold and The Rock on the same night. So Miz is now with Carmelo Hayes, and their catchphrases, and we're awesome. And I'm like, you lost me there. I get it, awesome. But I don't know. Maybe it was the way Miz delivered it. But yeah, that's the new tag team on the horizon now. Now I gotta go and update my tag team partners of list on WWE 2K25 because I like to do random tag team matches. And if it comes up with Carmelo Hayes, I could give him partners, not only like I could give him Trick Williams, but now I could also assign Miz as a partner, and they could go against I don't know, fucking Apollo Crews and Akira Tozawa, because they were a tag team. I think they may have won some championship together. I forget, was it DDT? I think they were a tag team before. And Apollo Crews, I used to have him team up with Ricochet because I think they were good friends in the tag team too. But I definitely know him and Akira Tozawa were a tag team. Not on WWE like that, but they were a tag team. And then we ain't got Titus O'Neil in the game, so we can't pair him with really too many people in the game. But nonetheless, this was an hour and 15 minutes. This is my debut episode here of this new format. And for those who listened, sorry this was a painful listen. I need to work on my stuff not being so prolix and get straight to the point, I know. But it's a work in progress. So thank you for listening to this first episode. And the links will be provided for everything I talked about here, so you can go see them for yourselves and maybe come back and comment here. Thank you for listening, and have yourself a good night.